All right, what's up guys? So it's been a while. I made 2 videos right whenever I first got my Porsche project going, and I kind of just cut it off. Not for any reason in particular, mainly really just because I kind of have ADHD when it comes to working on stuff. And so I would, get my kids to bed, shower, do things like that. And then I'd tell my wife like, hey, I'm gonna run out to the garage and look at something. And 6 hours would go by and I would have put the big brake kit on. And it's just like, that's kind of how I worked on this car. That's kind of how I had to work on this car because again, I've got kids, I've got a full-time job. So it's just one of those things that I kind of worked on it here and there whenever I could. But the more that this project goes along, it's getting pretty serious, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So last time we spoke, we were doing an LS swap, which is exactly what I did. We ran that LS, so it was an LS1 BTR Stage 3 cam, some head work, obviously exhaust, a full stainless custom exhaust system done by a local guy to me. He did a fabulous job. The car was gutted when I bought it, so I put a whole interior in it, figured out a way to fabricate my own roll cage. Most of the welds look great, a couple of the welds do not. That's a lot harder than you would think it would be. When you see those guys TIG welding stuff on Instagram, man, props to those guys, because it's not easy to get those gaps right and all that stuff whenever you're doing a roll cage. The build is getting pretty serious. We went from the LS, again, LS1 996 gearbox, billet pedal box, numeric billet shifter. Like I went all out with this car, got it done, enjoyed it. Fast as heck, quick, sounded great. But you can see up there on the wall, I've got a RWB Porsche up there in my office. I've got piles of Porsche Hot Wheels, Porsche posters. That's been my poster car. And so I would get out of this car and walk somewhere with it running, and walking away from it, I'm like, dang, that car sounds freaking good. And it's this 74 911 RSR, and I'm just like, it's sweet, but it just doesn't feel right. So obviously the car was done. I mean, it was 100% complete with the LS. I put a lot of miles on it. It was a lot of fun. And I kind of just thought that was going to be it. I thought, one day I'll build an air-cooled car. Well, I started talking to some people about possibly selling my setup, and a guy offered me an amount of money that I started doing the math, and I was like, you know what? I think I could take that money and get a really good head start on an air-cooled build. So it's kind of crazy, but spent 5 years redoing this entire car, put an LS in it, and now it sits with no engine in it. So my deck lid's not fastened down, but you can see there's no engine in there, no transmission. So here's what's up. I picked up a 3-liter air-cooled engine with a gearbox, complete engine, transmission, everything, for a fairly good price. And the gearbox was what was big to me. I mean, that added a lot of value to the cost of the engine. The engine was a running engine, but I also had known from talking to the owner that it probably needed gone through. He said it was leaking, and he explained the reasoning behind getting rid of it. He basically pulled all of his stuff out and dropped in a new engine and transmission from a local shop. And he just had this one sitting in the corner of his shop. So picked that engine up, smooth transaction, great guy to work with. And it sat in my garage for 2 or 3 weeks. And I was kind of like working myself up. I'm like, all right, this is the air-cooled build. Kind of was doing some math. I didn't want to tear it all down and then get stuck, right? So I didn't want to just have an air-cooled engine blown into pieces in my shop. I wanted to kind of get my ducks in a row before we started. So I went back and forth. Initially, I was going to start with a 2.7 liter, okay? Thought I was dead set on that. Started talking to some people, magnesium case, all that good stuff. And it didn't scare me. I thought maybe I'd do like a 2.8 RS engine. And then I was like, well, I could do a 2.9 RSR. And the more I looked into that, it was just gonna cost so much money that they were like, man, you should probably start with an aluminum case. That'd be a lot better. So that's kind of where we're at now. I started looking for a 3 liter. Just happened to stumble across this one on Facebook Marketplace. Don't even know why it showed it to me because it was in Washington State. I live in Indiana. But to make a long story short, we got the 3 liter. And then once I got that, I was like, okay, maybe I want to go to a 3.2 short stroke. And kind of went back and forth. And ultimately I landed on a 3 liter because that's what the 74 RSR was, a mechanical fuel injection 3 liter. Pretty hopped up. This one's not going to be quite that, but I've been working on this engine now for a month or so. Got it completely torn down. The cases were a disaster. I got those all cleaned up, but we've been kind of working on cleaning. I sent my cylinders off to Millennium to have those re-Nicosilled. And then I also picked up a set of 10.5 to 1 compression billet JE pistons. Okay, so it should be a pretty sweet setup. I've got, you know, a twin plug kit, 10.5 to 1 compression. I've got a set of Weber carburetors that I'm going to build for it. Surprisingly, again, this guy said that the car that this engine came out of had 212,000 miles. After taking this engine apart, I believe that, but I also think it's been gone through because this engine was in spectacular shape. I'm talking the only bearings that showed any wear were the intermediate shaft bearings, and I'm guessing whenever someone tore it down, they didn't put new ones in. Okay, so here's my rods, obviously, my crank. You can see that's just dirt. I mean, this crank looks really good. There's no scratches, gouges, nothing on it. I think there's actually a bearing in one of these. I'll try to pull it out real quick. I'll try to wipe it off here. I got an old drying towel. If any detailers out there are like, brother, why are you using a drying towel? So that was what the rod bearings looked like. I'm sure there's some dirt on it from that towel. I mean, that's not bad at all. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I think this engine had been gone through at one time. So all this stuff's in pretty good shape. Oil pump. I got my box of pistons right there. So heck yeah. These are getting ARP studs, whatever you want to call it. And I'm actually going to run stock. Everything I read was that these will hold up just fine. Now, if this were going to be a race engine that would sit at 7,200 RPM for periods of time, I would have gone up to Carrillo or whatever aftermarket rods. But since this is mainly going to be a driver, I was told through my research that it didn't necessarily need them. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. This engine, you know, the intermediate shaft, I'm guessing they didn't replace it. It wasn't in bad shape, but it showed some wear. So I truthfully think that I could have reused all of the rod bearings, all of the crank bearings, and this engine would have lasted a long time. That being said, we're bumping up the compression quite a bit. I think 8.5 to 1 is what the 3 liter is from factory, and we're going to 10.5 to 1. Weber carburetors, so that should help the intake. Got rid of the whole CIS system. That is the one part where you get stuck when it comes to horsepower. And I'm not trying to make a ton of horsepower. If I was all about horsepower, I would have kept the LS. But I do want it to be a fun car. I want it to be a snappy little car. I want to be able to get up through the RPM when I'm spirited driving. All that good stuff. So I wouldn't have been okay with, you know, like a stock 2.7 liter with whatever those have, 140 horsepower or whatever. You know what I mean? So look at the body kit on that car. It doesn't deserve a stock engine, is what I'm saying. Okay, so we've got this build underway, waiting on my cylinders to get back. Craig Garrett has my heads. He's obviously doing the whole twin plug deal on those, full rebuild on those heads, and then DC cams. I called him on the phone because Craig Garrett kind of said, you know, you might want to get with him. Actually, several people have. I've been kind of blown away by the amount of help that I have gotten from the Porsche community. Not that it wasn't expected, but it just, I don't know how to explain it. But every question I've ever had, people have just like immediately answered. And I ask a lot of questions. I like to talk a lot. I'm sure I get annoying to some people, hitting them up in their DMs, but I like to figure things out. I'm a manufacturing teacher. I teach high schoolers manufacturing and construction. And so I like to, have thorough explanations. I like to explain things to people. So I kind of go over the top when it comes to stuff like that, kind of like I'm doing right now in this video. But I got a lot of help from a lot of people, some people local to me, some people across the country from me. But definitely, one of the guys that's pretty local to me, his name's Chris. He's kind of guided me as far as what to do first, like the steps on how to do stuff. And he was the one that said, you know, you need to figure out what cam you want to run first. And so I called DC. He asked me what I was going to do, all that good stuff. So we landed on a DC 43X. I don't necessarily know exactly what that is, but he knows everything that the engine is going to be as far as carburetors, intake, exhaust, what my plans are with it. Not going to be a track car. Would I track it if I had the opportunity? Absolutely, but it's mainly going to be a driver. I want to hop in this car and drive 2.5 hours north to Indianapolis. Sounds kind of crazy. With the LS, I would not have done that. Was the LS reliable? Yes. But I am going back to raw with this car. This is going to be a driver. Man, I'm going to drive the crap out of this car. I'm going to daily drive it to my job, hop in it, go visit my buddy up in Indianapolis, go to, you know, car shows up there, rallies, all that good stuff. That's my plans with this car. That's where we're at. Waiting on a couple things to come back, talking with Pelican Parts. If you know Porsche, BMW, European cars, you've heard of Pelican Parts. Working with them to get a lot of good stuff in the engine, on the car. It's going to be sweet, and I'm very excited for it. I just basically wanted to hop on here and kind of fill you guys in a little bit and explain what's been going on. So the car is awesome. I went through all the suspension, all the brakes, all new bushings, all new bearings, all that good stuff. So it feels phenomenal driving. I can't wait to feel it with this 3-liter because I know it'll be a little bit lighter, nimble. I think it'll be, it sounds kind of crazy. The LS was so torquey. Like I'm talking third gear, 90 miles an hour because it was a 6-speed gearbox out of a 996. And so it was fun to drive, but it was just like, I could not get up into the RPM. So I'm pretty excited to feel this car, you know, get up to 6,800, 7,000 RPM, 7,200 RPM, and feel what that feels like to shift at that. So I'm very excited about this. I know it was kind of an unexpected step to go from LS to back to air-cooled. Not many people do that. A lot of times it's air-cooled. Oh, I'm having trouble with it. I want to get rid of it. I'm going to go an engine swap or whatever. But not me. It's crazy. I started with an LS, but I sound kind of like a purist now. So ignore the mess. My garage is kind of a disaster. But here's where we're at right now. So we've got the block torn down completely, and I've been cleaning the daylights out of this case because I want it spotless. You can see there's a couple spots that I've got to hit yet, but it's getting there. It's pretty darn clean, 100 times cleaner than what it was when I first got it out, but it's getting there. It's coming together, kind of just waiting right now and working. So again, like I told you, I'm a manufacturing teacher, and people are like, dude, how the hell are you doing that? Getting the pay of a teacher. Well, I do a lot of stuff on the side. So this truck right here, that's the one nice thing about being a teacher, you get summers off. This truck came to me, I've got to install a 7-inch lift on this truck. So the guy got all the lift powder coated and he dropped it off yesterday actually. So I've got to get the lift installed on that, and then I've got a truck outside that I'm gonna polish up and ceramic coat for a guy. So before we get to that, I got a little bit of cleanup to do. I picked up a sandblaster at Harbor Freight yesterday, and you can see I've got the boxes and stuff everywhere from that. So we're gonna clean up a little bit in here, sweep up, and get to making some money so I can finish this freaking car. Peace out.